across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
I'm sorry. There seems to be a discrepancy in your papers. Come with me, please.
Get used to it, folks. Good evening and welcome to the Political Asylum right here on Talk. I'm Kevin O'Sullivan and I'll be with you all the way to 10 o'clock. Stand by for 3 enthralling hours of news, views and dynamic debate. Get on the show, get it off your chest, get on the phone and call me on 0344 499 1000 or WhatsApp voice note me on the same number and I promise to play your message out. It is Friday, September the 26th. Here's what's coming up. He didn't need to do it. Why did he do it? Will two-tier Kia's plan to force each and every one of us to carry a Soviet-style digital ID card turn into his poll tax? As Margaret Thatcher discovered with her poll tax disaster in 1990, there comes a point when the normally mild-mannered British people will draw the line when they simply refuse to put up with something that they know in their bones is profoundly wrong. Labour's contention that there is growing support for this god-awful government's Papers, Please dystopia is a lie. And Starmer's pretense that somehow a Home Office-issued Brit card stored in our smartphones will solve the migrant crisis is ludicrous. No one believes this nonsense for a second, as became chillingly clear in our pathetic Prime Minister's rules and regulations speech today. This is all about socialist control, a sinister system whereby we are all issued with a number, reducing us to tiny cogs in the all-powerful national machine. They say it's for workers. But Cabinet lackey Lisa Nandy made it clear on telly last night that everyone will need their ID to use the NHS and other public services. In other words, without one, existence in this country will be pretty much impossible. It is egregious state overreach. It is deeply un-British. This is the United Kingdom. Not Russia, not China, and not Afghanistan. And you can sense that the great British people are simply not going to let this happen. Are we? 0344 499 1000. When Starmer says that no one will be able to work without a Brit card, is that the same as small boat migrants not being able to work for Deliveroo straight after crossing the channel illegally? 0344 499 1000. Obviously, the underground unlawful employment racket will continue apace, just as it always has. In other news, astonishing scenes as that dork from Irish rap band Kneecap walked free from court after the terror charge that he waved an illegal Hezbollah flag and chanted "Up Hamas" during a gig at the Kentish Town Forum was dropped on a legal technicality. It seems that Starmer's human rights lawyer chum, Attorney General Lord Richard Hermer, did not give his required approval for this charge within the 6-month time frame. Either this is extraordinary incompetence or a case of collusion to get a pro-Palestine fanatic off the hook. Was this yet more favouritism in our courts towards the Islamic cause? Hapless Hermer owes us an explanation, and it better be good. 0344 499 1000. Also tonight, Starmer admits in an article for the Daily Telegraph that Labour got it wrong on migration. You don't say. Trouble is, Keir, Labour is still getting it wrong, badly wrong. 0344 499 1000. Plus, as Shadow Justice Secretary Robert Jenrick declares that he's sick of seeing Gaza flags shown on British streets, a shocking decision by Sandhurst Town Council as councillors vote against flying a permanent Union Jack at its headquarters because, apparently, as stated in an appallingly unpatriotic debate, it's divisive. This is our flag, folks. It's divisive, political, used by the far right, and my personal favourite, upsetting. This is our national flag, for God's sake. What the hell is going on? 03444991000. All that and so much more. So don't go anywhere. Stick with me right here, right now on Hope Talk, the home of free speech and common sense. Let's spend Friday night together. It being Friday. I'm with my Friday friend, Pete Barnes, political strategist. Hi, Pete.
Hi, Kevin.
Look
How's it
at you
going?
again, all dressed up.
You told me.
All
very
dressed
public.
up and nowhere to go.
I know, it's the story of my life. But no, you told me to be dressed up smart every week, so here I am.
Exactly. You look at, okay, I'm not quite so scarecrowish this week. Next week with you, for you especially, let's both wear ties. Seriously, next week we'll both wear ties. I wore one on Wednesday because I went to a lunch at a Flash club, the RAF club.
Oh, nice.
Don't you know? So I wore one then. So next Friday,
Perfect.
we'll be dressed up tonight. I'll tell you what, let's wear that white tie.
White tie, yeah, with the gloves and everything.
Long tail coats and everything. Well, let's get going. First of all, we're going to play some clips, I think, before to set this story up. But this story broke just before I came on air last night, and that is that Keir Starmer, with Tony Blair whispering in his ear, is going to impose pretty much on everyone in this nation compulsory digital ID cards. In a speech today, he tried to sort of water it down a bit. So it's just for workers. You know, you won't be able to get a job unless you've got one of these Brit cards, they're going to call them. Well, then I went home and I watched Question Time. I don't know why I punished myself like that, but I did. I felt sorry for my friend Richard Tice, poor guy, to sit next to Lisa Nandy, the cabinet lackey extraordinaire. And she made it clear that actually it's a lot more than that. We'll prove that in just a second. Well, look, before we discuss what I think is a massive assault on traditional British liberty, it's just not British. We don't do this sort of thing. And you can bet, you know, if you get stopped by the police, you know, papers, please, show us your Brit card, please. You don't have one? Come with me, please. First of all, Keir Starmer delivered a speech today. It was pretty sinister, pretty chilling, but classic Starmer. Just a load of devotion to rules and regulations. He's obsessed with it. Give him a set of rules. He's never seen a set of rules that he doesn't want to implicitly obey. The problem is, he said, oh, you know, Brit cards, ID cards, you won't be able to work without. Well, right now, forever, you haven't been able to work unless you've got a national insurance number. What's the difference? What's the difference? What will happen is, just as people sort of forge national insurance numbers, just as rogue employers always employ people on the sort of under the desk, as it were, under the counter. They always have and they always will. You know, like those illegal migrants that cross the channel illegally, break into our country. We put them in a 4-star hotel, and within hours they're working for Deliveroo or Just Eat, delivering food. You know, they're employed illegally. This will continue. Just because you've got Brit cards, it's not going to make any difference. So, you know, this isn't what it's really about. These cards, Tony Blair's always wanted one because he's a socialist. Keir Starmer is an even worse socialist. This is about socialist control. This is about the state having the power over the individual. In my world, my ideal world, as in America, the individual is all powerful. The individual has more power than the state. What this is about, this is what socialists want, is the state is more powerful than the individual. The individual is just there as a cog in the state machine. That's what this is all about. Make no mistake. Make no mistake. Let's have a little listen to Keir Starmer's speech today.
This government will make a new free-of-charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
Yes, you will. Of course you will. I mean, you won't be able to work legally without one, just as you can't work legally now without a national insurance number. But people still work.
It's called the black economy. There are loads of employers, you know, they're usually running, you know, kebab shops, nail bars and all this, that employ people illegally. And it will continue. This won't make any difference. This is not about working. And I'll prove that in just a minute, because one of his sidekicks, Lisa Nandy, rather expanded on the worker theme when she was on Question Time last night. I'll play you that clip in a little while. But first of all, as citizens all over this country reacted in horror about this crackdown on our freedom. I mean, the petition they got up last night was blimey. I've never seen anything like it. When I was on air, I was on air about 3 hours after this was announced, 3 or 4. The petition was already on 360,000. I believe today it's on about 600,000 and rising. This is massive. That 1.3 million, I've just been told. 1.3 million. And by the way, opposition to this is across the board. It is uniting people from the left and people from the right. Never before have I been able to say I stand four square with Jeremy Corbyn. Jeremy Corbyn said this is an assault on our liberty, on civil liberties. He threw in a bit of old claptrap about minorities and all that, but his heart is in the right place. So people on the right, people on the left, people in the middle are all united in their hatred of what Keir Starmer is trying to do to us. Obviously, as usual, leading the charge against our wonderful Prime Minister was the Reform UK leader, Nigel Farage. Take it away, Nigel.
All that digital ID will be is a means of controlling the population, of telling us what we can and can't do, of fining the innocent. And didn't we see it all when we had the pandemic, when you had to have vaccine ID to travel, to do various things? Did that stop the COVID pandemic spreading? Did it help? All it did was put cost and inconvenience on everybody else. I also worry about massive data banks being held by the government, being hacked by foreign governments, by private companies, by criminals. I do not see a single benefit to the government having digital ID other than them controlling what we do, what we spend and where we go. And we in Reform are wholly opposed to it in every single way.
Couldn't agree more. And as I say, Jeremy Corbyn agrees with Nigel Farage as well, so get that straight. Now, everybody, prepare to have your intelligence insulted, because here is Keir Starmer's new sidekick, his ears and eyes in the cabinet. What's he called? Chief Cabinet Secretary or something like that. Chief Prime Minister's Secretary. This is the guy, the absolute idiot, who thinks that the majority of migrants crossing the Channel are women and children and babies. He said that on Question Time. His name is Darren Jones. Anyway, as I say, prepare to have your intelligence insulted, because Darren explains. Watch this.
What is a digital ID? My name is Darren Jones. I'm the Chief Secretary to the Prime Minister. Let me explain. A digital ID is an ID on your phone that just proves you are who you are. And when you apply for any new job in the UK already, you have to prove that you have the right to work here. With a digital right to work check, you can do it with your phone, as opposed to having to rummage around for a passport or a utility bill which your employer has to photocopy. It's free, it's not going to cost you anything, it makes life easier for you. Lots of other countries use government digital ID. Australia or Denmark or Estonia, other places in Europe, as it means that we can hone in on those dodgy employers employing people illegally much more effectively, so that for the rest of us that get up every morning and go to work legally, we know that we're all doing the right thing and the system works well.
Oh, thanks, Darren. Darren explains. What do they think? What do they think we are? 3 years old? It's unbelievable. By the way, we listed all those countries. Other countries that have digital IDs include Russia, China, Afghanistan, North Korea. Great to be in that club. Finally, as I said earlier, lest you fall for this lie that this is just about workers, it's actually for everybody. Here's Lisa Nandy on Question Time, BBC Question Time last night.
How How will these digital ID cards work?
Well, one of the things that we're thinking about is whether to introduce digital ID, and we think there is some merit in this. The Prime Minister will say a bit more about this tomorrow, but we think that they offer two benefits. The first is that they'll be able to make sure that people are able to prove their right to be here, to work here legally very easily, which will then help us to deal with the illegal economy and stop people being undercut at work. But we also think there might be big benefits as well for citizens. If you think about the way that the NHS app has developed in recent years, and now you're much more able to do things like make GP appointments online and access your medical records, we think there may be benefits to the general population as well.
This is, Pete, this is for every single one of us, isn't it?
That's just incredible. First of all, I've never had my intelligence insulted more than that video. That is just insulting to be on the nth degree. But I find the perverse bit of this, it was announced at a summit called Global Action Progress. What does that even mean? Yet again, it's hiding behind words. But this is actually, for me, I completely agree with you, Kev. I'm in complete lockstep. I'm agreeing with Nigel Farage, put it that way. That,
well, as I said, we also find ourselves in the unusual position of agreeing with Jeremy Corbyn.
Yeah, and this is the point. It's
Thank you. Good to be with you, Comrade Corbyn.
But this is the point, is he's opened himself up to so much criticism from everybody, but also, this is actually about the government protecting itself from Britain. This is what it is, because once this is on your phone, that's it. It could control where you can go, what access information you've got, your ability to access healthcare, in education, everything will be able to be centrally controlled, and that's what it is. It doesn't matter what the government says, whether that's their intention or not. They have laid the foundations for this social credit score. That's what they've done.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter their intention. This is the point, is that it cannot be allowed to happen. It simply can't.
And I suspect, as I said in my monologue, and I'm not the first to say this, this could well be Keir Starmer's poll tax. You can sense that petition, what was it, 1.6 million already? It is rocketing. The people of this country, we're a mild-mannered nation. We're not like the French. We don't start burning things at the drop of a hat. It takes a lot to get the British people seriously riled. But there comes a point where, as I said again, in our bones, we know that something is profoundly wrong, just like the people did with the poll tax. Yeah. And everybody, I think, the vast majority of people in this country know that this is profoundly wrong. Let me know what you think, 03444991000. Just before we go to break, Pete, a couple of other points to establish about this horror. Yeah. First of all, no one voted for this.
Yeah, wasn't it in any manifesto?
It wasn't in the Labour manifesto. By the way, I don't believe there's been any kind of debate in the House of Commons.
Not a single bit. This is a huge point. This has just been diktat. This is there's no debate. There's no vote on it. Nothing. Yeah. What I find
this is dictatorship. Yeah, this is tyrannical. Tyrannical.
I mean, you go back all the way to, I think it was 1950 when Winston Churchill scrapped the IDs from post-war. He knew that he called it terror in embryo. Because he knew because he saw the police were overstepping. They were using it. The state was overstepping. He saw it there. That's Winston Churchill.
And by the way, that of course that was before our digital age. So everybody in the war and then had to have papers, please. It's fair enough in a world war when we were at war with Germany and everything. But the government tried to say, oh, we rather like this. Governments like to keep tabs on their citizens. So Churchill tried to carry it on after the war. And British people just exploded in fury. You can still see the massive demonstrations setting fire to their IDs. So we hated it then, and we hate it now.
And we hated it with Tony Blair. It was actively rejected.
Tony Blair had to.
How many times does the British people have to tell the government no?
Yeah, exactly.
They are ignoring us, and we have to keep saying no again and again and again.
Tony Blair's obsessed with this. He tried to get it in the early noughties. He had to abandon it because of the sheer weight, the sheer power of public objection, of their refusal to accept this. He's trying it again. Now, the last point, we've got to go to break, but the last point is what kind of information is going to be stored in our Brit cards? What are we going to have to give them in order to be issued them? Now, if it's things like bank accounts or, your medical records, as a lot of people are pointing out, this can be hacked. Russia can get this. No. To quote Ian Paisley,
yes.
never. Come on, everybody, let's stop this. We can stop this. And if he carries on with this, I predict, I'm not encouraging this, I don't encourage law breaking, but I predict that the British people will explode in rage and there will be serious protests. Let me know what you think. 03444991000. We'll discuss this throughout the show. I think it's just such a massive story. Really want to hear what you all think about it. And after the break, though, another horror today. That dork from Kneecap, can't be bothered to say his Irish name. I can't work out how you say it. It's all written in kind of weird Irish text. But he calls himself Mo Chara. This is the guy that was accused of waving a Hezbollah flag and chanting "Up Hamas" at a gig in the Kentish Town Forum here in North London. Back in November it was. Today he was going to court. The whole case was dropped on a technicality because it turned out that when he was charged by the police and the Crown Prosecution Service, they failed to get the approval of the Attorney General, Richard Hermer, within the required 6-month time frame. There's something very sinister about this, very fishy. We will talk about this after the break. Stay tuned.
I think Downing Street are probably banking on people already putting lots of their their personal information over to social media sites or handing over to, the banks have lots of details, the government already have lots of details, the NHS already have lots of details. If this is just one extra thing that the government can have in their armoury to try and solve illegal migration, they are going to go for it.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yeah, that dork from Kneecap. I've got a soft spot for Kneecap, by the way. Hackney Marshes. No, seriously, they made me famous at Glastonbury because they played a sort of montage of all a load of fascist media people being nasty about them, and I got a really kind of star billing.
Oh, nice.
My bit went on for ages. My nephew was there waiting for Kneecap to come on, shall we say, stoned out of his head, lying there, off his trolley. He suddenly looked up and saw his uncle. Man, these drugs are strong. Anyway, so thank you for that, Kneecap. Anyway, you made me famous. But seriously, Mo Chara, at a gig last November, I believe it was, in Kentish Town, North London, the Forum. Been there many times, seen a lot of gigs there. It's a good venue. He stood accused of, well, I mean, he pretty much did it because thousands of people see it on film. He flew a Hezbollah flag and chanted up Hamas. He denied the charges, fair enough, he's entitled to do that. But it went to court today and it was just dropped, it was just kicked out on a technicality because it's a terror charge, that is a terrorist charge. And terror charges have to get the approval, the official green light, as it were, from the Attorney General, that's Keir Starmer's human rights lawyer mate, Lord Richard Hermer, and that had not been achieved. They hadn't got that approval. Now, that is a disgrace. You've got 6 months to do it. Now, very high-profile case. Surely Hermer would have known about it. I mean, why did this happen? The CPS, Crown Prosecution Service, and the police, they knew they had to get it. Hermer, it seems to me, should have, if no one got in touch with him, he should have got in touch with them and said, listen, I think I need to approve this. So either this is abysmal, pathetic incompetence, or there's something sinister going on here, some kind of collusion to get yet another pro-Palestine fanatic off the hook. Either way, Richard Hermer, if you're watching, I know he tunes in every day. He's a big fan of the show, I know that.
Without a doubt.
If you're watching, you owe us an explanation, and you better make it good. I'm serious. He really does need to explain what happened here.
Quite frankly, he owes us a resignation.
Well, yeah,
that's what he owes us.
It is possible.
Because let's be real, this is just a guy shouting something. This could have been something horrifically worse, and the British state failed to prosecute what is essentially a terror charge. You can't escape this. It is absolutely unreal that this has happened. Even if it is a mistake, which I'm with you, Kevin, I don't believe this is a mistake. I mean, why wait till the day after the cut-off? It is too convenient. I mean, like you said, it's a high-profile case. There's lots of media attention around it, so I don't believe that they're completely unaware of it. This is the plausible deniability line doesn't work here. It just doesn't. It's just ridiculous. There is incompetence, and then there is this.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's something strange here. Now, David Wolfson, Lord Wolfson, very senior lawyer, legal luminary, he tweeted today, and this case had to be dropped by the Chief Magistrate on this technicality. He tweeted today, the Chief Magistrate has thrown out this charge under the Terrorism Act, apparently because the Attorney General authorised the charge after the 6-month statutory time limit. We need an explanation of what happened, why, and who is taking responsibility. Lord Wolfson is absolutely right. Now, for balance, we like to be balanced.
Since when?
I hate being balanced, actually, but we have to be. We do have to be. We do try. Yeah. Not very hard, but we no, we do try. I mean it. I'm only joking, but we do have to be balanced. So this is Mo Chara celebrating his unexpected. Well, he wasn't acquitted.
No.
The charge just didn't stick. The case didn't happen. But here he is after that extraordinary decision.
About Gaza, about what happens if you dare to speak up. As people from Ireland, we know oppression, colonialism, famine and genocide. We have suffered and still suffer under your empire. Your attempts to silence us have failed because we're right and you're wrong. We will not be silent. We said we would fight you in your court and we would win. Today we have.
Well, that's just not true.
Yeah, but I mean, but you know, like I hate to applaud Mo Farah, but he's right. You know, he's humiliating us there because we deserve it.
Yeah,
we deserve it. Herma, this is a catastrophe. You know, what is going on here? As I say, 6 months they had to get Lord Herma's approval. You have to get it. You don't have to get it with every offence, but you have to get it with terror offences. 6 months. He didn't give his approval. I mean, why is that? Why?
You made the right point. Is why didn't the Attorney General go to the police? Like, he had to have known that he needed to give the permission. You know, he's not an idiot. So why didn't he take it upon himself if they didn't go to him? That is the question. Because, like we said, there is so much media attention that everybody knew this was happening. They knew they needed to do it. Why did nobody stand up and say, we haven't done this really important thing? I don't understand that unless it is willful that they've done it.
It's as I said earlier, it's either sort of catastrophic incompetence on an enormously epic scale, or something happened here. You know, that there was a collusion to make sure that this technicality unfolded, the legal technicality. You know, and as Pete says, and I agree, you know, shouldn't Herma at least have said, look, this is a terror charge, I think you need to ask me something. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that it was incumbent upon him to do this, but this was a very high-profile case. Somehow, somewhere, something's gone badly wrong here. It was either, as I say, crass, hopeless, unacceptable incompetence for which someone needs to pay the price, or there's something deliberate about it. And if it was deliberate, again, we need a serious explanation. And this, of course, on the week when a Muslim maniac who tried to kill, frankly, that guy who did a Quran protest, burned the Quran outside the Turkish consulate in Knightsbridge in London. You saw the video of that. I mean, he was slashing at him with a knife. He went to his home to get the knife, kicked him to the ground, shouted, "I'm going to kill you." He pretty much got off scot-free. He got a 20-week prison sentence, suspended for 18 months, which is the same as no sentence at all. And the judge said something about, oh, your previous exemplary character. A definite two-tier justice, a case of favouritism towards Islam, towards a Muslim. And I would suggest, Mo Farah is obviously not a Muslim, but this is favouritism towards someone who very much supports the cause of Islam in Palestine. So what do you think, folks? 03444991000. Something has gone very badly wrong there. Next up, Keir Starmer has written a piece in the Daily Telegraph today admitting that Labour got it wrong on migration. Say that again. What he doesn't seem to admit is they're still getting it very, very, very wrong. We'll talk about that next. Stay tuned.
across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Extraordinary times in the Telegraph. That's two papers there. No, extraordinary times in the Daily Telegraph today when Keir Starmer, our supreme leader. Oh, he's great guy. He's doing a good job, isn't he, running the country? Really is, yeah. No, nobody has any objections to his marvellous, well-oiled machine. It's an unbelievable mess he's making.
Make the stars block.
As I say, I'm digressing here, but he didn't need to do this ID card things. He keeps doing things he doesn't need to do. Do you know what somebody told me last night? I said Matthew Tubbett.
Oh, yeah.
Tubbett. He's off to the Labour conference last night, and of course he's a Labour, one of the few reasonable Labour supporters. And I said to him, "Why is he doing this? This is self-harming. This could actually destroy him." And Matthew said, "People can't quite work it out, but what they think is he just wanted to make some kind of banner declaration at the conference."
Yeah, I can see the argument here, because if you think about it, and if we could tie it back in with the article, he says, yes, we got it wrong. Congratulations. So his kind of say, but our correction is this, and it's not.
Yeah.
This is the big problem. It's the credibility what they call the credibility vacuum. In other words, yes, you could admit you're wrong, but it's what you do afterwards that really matters.
Yeah.
And what he's offered here is just horrific.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, it's very interesting you say the phrase like a reasonable Labour supporter. I think if they're in favour of the Labour Party under this policy, there's no reasonableness left in them.
Well,
in my opinion.
I don't think Matthew is in favour of it. It wasn't aggressively opposed to it enough in my view.
Yeah.
And he did troll out. I like Matthew, by the way.
Yeah, he is.
But he trolled out that line, "Oh, there is growing support." That's just a lie.
I don't know where people keep getting this from.
I have never seen a petition like this. In order to trigger a parliament, they call it a parliamentary debate, but a debate in the House of Parliament. It's not actually in Parliament, but you have to get 100,000 signatures, 100,000, and a lot of these petitions, they take 3 months to get that. This petition's now got 1.7 million in just over a day. This is massive, folks. This is massive.
It's like you said, it's the unified opposition. It's every wing, every bit of Britain is opposed to this.
Yeah. I've got lots of texts from people saying, "How do I sign this petition?" Anyway, let's go back to the piece that Starmer wrote in the Telegraph today. Here you go. He said, "There is no doubt that for years, left-wing parties, including my own," what other ones does he mean? Like the communists? Greens? Anyway. There is no doubt for years left-wing parties, including my own, did shy away from people's concerns around illegal immigration. It has been too easy for people to enter the country, work in the shadow economy and remain illegally. We must be absolutely clear that tackling every aspect of the problem of illegal immigration is essential. Well, the ID cards, the brick cards, I don't think it's got anything to do with immigration at all. They just say it's a good way to sell it to the people. Say, this will help to solve that accursed migrant crisis. You know, it won't. It's got nothing to do with it. You know, as we said earlier, Pete, giving everybody these brick cards, you can't work without them. It's just the same as now. Everyone's got an national insurance number. You can't work without that. You know, it doesn't mean that people don't work illegally. They will. And that's the thing with his speech. He's the kind of guy, he is so devoted to rules and regulations.
Yes, that's the point here.
That he can barely conceive of people breaking them.
Yeah, there's a great line that says the bureaucracy is expanding to meet the needs of the expanding bureaucracy, and that is Keir Starmer. In other words, there needs to be systems, there needs paperwork, there needs files. This is the thing, it's not Orwell, this is more Huxley, or it's more Kafka. It's death by bureaucracy that we're going to face in this country, because, you know, it's really... This article also is stupid, because you've wandered into Nigel Farage's battlefield with a knife, and he's got a machine gun. He's just conceded every single point that Nigel Farage has made for the last 30 years of his professional life. He's saying that everything that the Labour Party and the left have said is wrong, and yet somehow, he thinks that just by admitting that the country's going to say, all right, OK, fine, at least you said it. No. And also, frustratingly, he says, like, oh, we didn't listen, we didn't hear it. In the speech he gave when he announced this Brit card, he said it was the politics of grievance that was driving reform. It's not grievance, it's anger. It's anger at seeing our country being torn apart with two-tier societies, two-tier justice. That's what it is. It's not that we're a bit perturbed. We're angry about it. And he still does not understand that anger. And this article was the stupidest thing he could have done.
You're right. Look, Farage and Kemi, if she wakes up one day, could just say, well, look, you just admitted you've been getting it wrong. And, of course, you know, the illegal working by migrants, you know, the ones that have been working for Deliveroo, and of course, as I said earlier, you know, there's got kebab shops, nail bars. I mean, they're notorious for hiring illegal workers, mostly illegal migrants. You know, that's a problem. Yeah. But it's
on a scale of 1 to 10.
It's not at the centre of the migrant, because the real centre, the centre of the migrant crisis is the enormous number of people who come across the channel illegally that we, for some reason, welcome with open arms, costing us billions of pounds every year, and of course the legal migrant crisis, the millions of people we let in legally. It's just a numbers game and a cost game. You know, working legally or illegally, working illegally is not good, but it's not at the heart of the migrant crisis, is it?
The heart of the migrant, for most people, it is literally seeing boats rock up and them being given whatever they want. That is why people are so angry and so frustrated. He's tinkering around the edges with legal migration, and then overreacting with this digital ID card, which has nothing to really do with the situation, thinking that he's somehow solving anything. He's not. This is not leadership. He thinks it is. It's not. He's trying to sell these Brit cards, ID cards, you know, by saying, oh, they'll help to solve the migrant crisis. They won't at all. All you have to do is look internationally, where they have a system like this, they still have the same problem we have. Italy's a prime example.
Yeah, it's socialist control of the people. The socialist outlook, and Keir Starmer is a serious socialist, is that the individual is subordinate to the state. The state is all that matters, and that we, the people, are serfs who must serve the wonder of the state. It's as simple as that. And that's what digital ID cards are all about. We'll all have a state number. We'll all have our own number. And as we said earlier, who knows what information we'll have to give before we get these mandatory, compulsory cards. And it's not just about working, as Lisa Nanda made clear. If you don't have one of these cards, you won't be able to see a doctor, you won't be able to go to a hospital, you won't be able to use social services, you won't be able to exist in this country. This is for absolutely everyone. One last point, Pete. I know it's obvious, and we talked about it last night, but what about people who don't have smartphones? Well, that's not just old people.
It's not just old people. There's lots of people that don't have them. Also, there is the kind of... Well, the reason they want it on your phone is so that they can track where you are. That's the whole point of it. It's about accessing. This is, I think you make a really good point, Kev, it's about othering. It's about pushing you out of society without the need for force. Yeah. Because you can't access anything. You can't get a bank account. You can't rent. You can't do anything. So therefore, you have to conform to be able to live in our society.
Yeah, you're right. That's another thing. Trust me. You won't be able to get a bank account without one of these. And if you've got a bank account, when we have to have these things, heaven forbid, you'll have to give your bank your number. But I do feel, because they're talking about rolling it out by 2027, or
he wants it in law by the end of this Parliament.
Well,
which is good luck.
I think it'll be just like the last time when Blair tried to do it, just like when Margaret Thatcher tried the poll tax. The people, the sheer power of the people's fury will stop this. They will stop it. And it's just another sign that this guy, Keir Starmer, does not understand the British. This is not British. It is not British, and we're not going to put up with it. I'm certain of that. Let me know what you all think. 03444991000. After the break, there's going to be a story you absolutely love, Pete, but a YouGov mega poll, not just a poll, a mega poll, very big poll, has revealed that if we had an election today, Reform UK would be on track for 311 seats. That would give them not an overall majority, but certainly a large enough number of seats, MPs, to almost certainly put Nigel Farage into number 10 Downing Street. And the news for your team, for the Tories, is not good. We'll talk about that afterwards. Stay tuned.
I think Downing Street are probably banking on people already putting lots of their their personal information over to social media sites or handing over to, the banks have lots of details, the government already have lots of details, the NHS already have lots of details. If this is just one extra thing that the government can have in their armoury to try and solve illegal migration, they are going to go for it.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. I feel actually pretty privileged because I am within the studio Britain's last Tory supporter.
I've been in a museum at some point.
It's a museum piece. Pete Barnes is still a Conservative supporter. No one knows why. I think he just does it out of habit.
Yes.
No, but seriously, Pete, there's a huge, big mega poll, not just any poll. YouGov, probably our premier polling company. So this should be taken seriously. If there was an election today, there's the map. Reform UK would win 311 seats, this poll predicts. So that would give Farage's party an overall majority. Wouldn't be enough
it would give them a largest party victory. Wouldn't quite be an overall majority, but it would be substantial enough to almost certainly get Nigel Farage into Downing Street. Meanwhile, according to this poll, Labour would be reduced to 144 MPs. The Lib Dems, who've got 72 at the moment, they would actually rise to 78, but they still wouldn't matter. Whatever happens in British politics, remember this, folks, the Liberal Democrats will never, ever matter, especially as long as they've got that absolute idiot Sir Ed Davey running the show. God, what is... Do you know, I like the way... Why don't you write about me?
Yeah.
You keep writing about Nigel Farage. You keep putting Nigel Farage on the TV. Why don't you put me on the TV? Well, I'll tell you why, Ed. It's because nobody knows who you are and you're not very interesting.
True. Their entire conference went by and everyone went, oh, what? Sorry.
Yeah, and then he made that...
Didn't even make a single
Then
headline.
he made the speech at the end mentioning Nigel Farage 33
I know,
times.
yeah.
Anyway, as I say, I hate the expression, but no doubt about it, Nigel Farage is living rent-free in Ed Davey's head. Anyway, Labour would be reduced to 144 MPs. The Lib Dems would get 78, and the Tories would plunge to just 45. Now, I would suggest today that Starmer's clearly deeply unpopular ID card initiative means that things can only get worse for Labour and only get better for Reform. One thing I would say, I mean, you know, I know you have your objections to Reform. You know, I have criticisms too. But they've got the zeitgeist. People, they know how to talk to people. They've caught the national mood.
So this is
and your lot just aren't doing that.
Yeah, but the thing is, the minute my lot start talking, everybody says shut up. That is the big problem the Conservatives had. That, you know, they're still living in the kind of the angry backlash of 14 years. That's not going to go away. The next general election for them is realistically like 2001 or 2005. Survive. That's realistically what they've got to do. But the thing with these kind of big polls is, yes, it's 13,000 respondents over 3 weeks. But the problem is these become very rhetoric support, not policy support. So if we actually look at polling when they announced the rescinding of leave to remain, for example, Reform went down. But over the time, so yes, they have got the zeitgeist, they have got the public mood, but when they're announcing what they're going to do, the polling shifts all over the place.
What you're saying, Pete, and you know, I accept it, is, I think what you're saying anyway, is that by the time we get to whenever the election might be, I suspect that Farage is right. It might be sooner than 29, because I think that our debt, our national debt and our borrowing may reach critical mass. It may be economic. The financial crisis may force us to the polls. But either way, when we get at the point we're going to the polls, at the point there's going to be a general election, I agree with you, Reform have got to fill in a lot of policy gaps.
And this seems to be a growing trend. So when you kind of break down this big poll, it does seem to be that, yes, they like the rhetoric, they like the idea of reform. However, you still got to look at Nigel Farage's personal rating of -29. There is still a lot of people that like reform but don't like Nigel. So he might be, to a degree, a little bit of a drag on the ticket further down the line if that doesn't shift. So there is a lot to kind of break down here. But yes, this is a great result for reform. However,
and not good for the Tories.
Not good for the Tories, but again, survive. But I will say, 144 for Labour, who's still voting for this lot?
I agree with that.
Yeah, but then again, I put this down to the fact that people don't like Farage. So I think there will be this kind of anti-Farage mobilisation of the opposition parties working together in certain seats to keep reform out. There is what they used to call the Rainbow Coalition. I think will be back with a vengeance to stop reform. Okay, because I don't think a Tory will likely vote for reform. A Reform's never voted for a Tory. But a Green might vote for a Labour Party candidate to keep out reform.
I think that I'm sure you get it, but I think you should at least embrace the possibility that a sea change in British politics may be coming.
Yes.
Oh, certainly looks like it. And Kemi Badenoch, I like Kemi.
Yeah.
I like a lot of things she says, but she's not up to this. She's not doing it right. Where was she today?
That's true. I have to admit, I flicked through all the news channels. I even rang
Why hasn't she?
Where is she?
Why hasn't she said anything about
Yeah.
ID cards? She's really got to raise her game. I've got to get some breaking news here. More on the Epstein files. Elon Musk's name has appeared in new files relating to Jeffrey Epstein, with a reference made to the world's richest man potentially visiting the paedophiles' island. The Duke of York, Prince Andrew. Here we go. Bad week for the Yorks, I think, what with one thing and another. The Duke of York is also named as a passenger on the sex offender's private jet in documents released by Democrats on the House Oversight Committee in the US. So these are new documents released. More bad news for the Duke of York, potentially bad news for Elon Musk. These papers also show that Musk is a potential visitor, was as a potential visitor to Epstein's Island's Little St James on the 6th of December 2014, 6 years after he became a listed sex offender. We don't have Elon Musk's response to that, but that is what's being, that's hit the news wire. So that's breaking news. So after Fergie was revealed to be a shameless liar, a venal, shameless liar, we never want to see or hear from that dreadful woman again. Her husband, equally dreadful, the Duke of York, Prince Andrew, has been named as a definite passenger on sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's private jet. They used to call it the Lolita Express. So bad news for Prince Andrew, potentially bad news for Elon Musk as well. That is breaking news. When we come back after the news, we're going to talk about flags. Shocking decision by a council to stop flying the Union Jack because it's upsetting. It's upsetting, politically divisive, they're called. We're going to talk to one of the councillors who fought against that decision, but sadly lost. Our flags are becoming a big issue. Robert Jenrick's been talking about them today as well. He's sick of seeing Gaza flags all over the country. I think we all are. So we'll cover that story after the news. In the meantime, stay tuned and we'll be back in just a moment.
Your Majesty, Melania and I are deeply grateful to you and Queen Camilla for your extraordinary graciousness. And to William and Kate, thank you so much. It's been so great being with you today. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. It's a singular privilege to be the first American president welcomed here. The phrase special relationship, seen from American eyes, the word special does not begin to do it justice. We're joined by history and fate, and by love and language. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a great honor to be with you.
Security remains the cornerstone of this special relationship. We have the
across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. I'm a bit of a golf fan. I've been watching the Ryder Cup today, and you know, Europe. We kicked America's backside this morning. We absolutely thrashed them 3-1. Really playing well. Then at lunchtime, their time, it's over in Long Island, there was this sort of explosion of American patriotism. Really impressive. Donald Trump turned up, big golf fan himself, obviously. It's a Bethpage golf course on Long Island, north of New York. Donald Trump turned up, and there was this sort of massive, stirring rendition of the American national anthem. Very stirring song with the worst first line in the history of song lyrics. Oh, say, can you see? It's terrible, isn't it? Ridiculous. Oh, say, can you see? I mean, you could do better than that. Apart from that, though, it's a very stirring song. And so there's this huge rendition of this. Donald Trump, and then these sort of jets flew over in formation. The whole crowd, it was awe-inspiring, you know, and unfortunately may inspire the American team to start playing some really good golf. They didn't this morning. But, you know, so that kind of patriotism, as someone who used to live there, you see that every day in every way in America. Houses down, every house with a stars and stripes hanging from their veranda and so on and so forth. Proud of their flags, proud of their country. Patriotism. It's what America's all about. Over here, we in Britain seem to have come to the point where we despise our own national flag. The Union Jack, or the Union flag, you're supposed to call it, if it's not on a ship. Sod that. Everybody calls it the Union Jack, so don't anyone think, you can call it the Union flag, because it's the Union Jack only if it's on a ship. Don't care. It's the Union Jack. That's what I call it when I was a kid. That's what I'm going to call it now. So, Union Jack, everywhere. Also, if you're English, the St George's Cross, the St George's flag. There's been this sort of protest now. Loads of people putting up flags saying we're sick of being ashamed of our flag. We're not. We're proud of our flag. We're proud, raising the colours, it's called, isn't it? That organisation. Anyway, in Sandhurst, well, look, first of all, we'll talk about this council decision in just a second. Robert Jenrick has given an interview to The Sun today, Shadow Justice Secretary, of course. By the way, Pete, there's a Tory who's working hard.
Nigel Farage light. He's the Pepsi.
You see, you've got someone who's working hard for your cause, and you put him down. Poor guy. He's doing his best. He's all you've got, mate. He's the only one. Really, he's the only one who knows how to get a headline. Anyway, he sat down with The Sun today, and he said, and I agree with him, I'm sure you do, Pete, he said he's sick and tired of seeing Gaza flags flown on British streets. Meanwhile, and this is a sort of bit of an exclusive because one of the councillors contacted me this morning. Sandhurst Town Council, don't forget Sandhurst, you know, is the home of the prestigious Military Officer Training College, you know, that one where Harry kept failing the exams. He would have passed if he had a brain. Trouble is he doesn't have one, does he? Anyway, Sandhurst is there, so it's a sort of patriotic kind of a place. Sandhurst Town Council has voted against flying a permanent Union Jack flag at the council head office, HQ, because it is, and I quote, divisive, political, it's being used by the far right, and these flags, and this is my personal favourite, as I said earlier, are upsetting. It's our national flag. What do you mean our national flag is upsetting? It's ridiculous, this. In a minute, we're going to talk to excellent independent councillor there, John Edwards. But before we do this, before we go over to John, let's have a look at Robert Jenrick talking to The Sun today.
I think that people are sick of seeing, you know, the Gaza flag being put up, a lamppost, a Pakistan flag. You know, a couple of weeks ago, I went down the road from here in Newark and put up Union flags on lampposts for a couple of hours, and car after car, HGV drivers, van drivers were honking their horns. They were saying, good for you. People want us to feel pride in our country, and in order to do that, you have got to integrate people properly and expect that everyone who comes into our country cherishes our history and our heritage and our culture.
Should there be this ban of putting up the kind of the Palestine flag then in public buildings or in the...
Well, look, I don't want foreign flags on public buildings.
Yeah.
I don't want to see them on the streets.
Robert Jenrick, the Shadow Justice Secretary there. I echo everything he says. Now, warm welcome to the show from Sandhurst Town Council to Councillor John Edwards, Independent Councillor. Hi, John. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Thanks for having me on.
Well, you contacted me this morning about this shocking decision, this shocking vote by your fellow councillors to cease flying the Union Jack permanently at the council HQ. And in this debate that you were involved in, I'm sure you didn't say any of this, it was stated that the Union Jack, our national flag, is divisive, political, is being used by the far right, and these flags are upsetting. Yeah. Now, as you were sitting there and your fellow councillors were making these statements, what were you feeling?
Yeah, well, shame, really, and, embarrassment and anger, all those things. And you have to sit there because you're allowed 3 minutes and then, you get to sort of speak once and hear everyone else speak. But shall I give you the background?
Please, John, take us through it.
Sandhurst, you're right. It is the home of the Royal Military Academy. It is a very patriotic town, and we've had a massive amount of flags go on. We probably had hundreds in and around Sandhurst and the surrounding areas of this operation, Raise the Colours. And people were, really pleased with them. Residents were coming out saying that's wonderful. But the council then very next day at 5 a.m. got the cherry pickers out and took them down. And I've never seen the council move so fast in my life. But they assured us that it wasn't because they didn't like the flag, it was because it was a highway safety issue.
Rubbish.
Exactly.
Because we're hearing this story all over the country, that you put a flag on a lamppost and this will cause horrific car crashes. What a load of crap. Rubbish. But sorry, I interrupted. Carry on.
You're absolutely right. Well, I suspected that was the case. But, these flags, they look great. But, they are made of nylon. They can't stay up forever. So they have to come down at some point. So I thought, well, why do people love these flags being up? So I put in a proposal to have a permanent Union flag. Surprisingly, we don't actually fly one outside the council offices or in our memorial park. So I said, let's put a permanent flag up, the Union flag. That means that it'll be official. There's no highway safety concerns. And people who want to see the flag can see it proudly waved. And that's why I put the motion in. But in the debate... it was talked about, it was far right. Not the flag itself, but they were saying the raising the flag by ordinary people. Far right, Tommy Robinson came out at one point, it was hateful, it's divisive. One Tory MP, councillor, said people are using it as an obscene motto. I mean, some of these phrases that they're coming out with...
And that's from a Conservative?
That's from a Conservative, yeah. And it was only one Conservative that actually voted for the flag. Another, in support for it, but then he just bottled it when they started talking about being divisive and racist and abstained. And then, the other majority voted against it. And I just thought, well, this is really surprising. And actually, the councillor who abstained in the end said something really important towards the end of the debate. He said, actually, I'm quite scared to sort of tell you how I feel about the flag, just in case it gets misconstrued into being divisive or hateful. I thought that's the key, because we've all been conditioned for 20 years to think that national pride, patriotism, our flag is something to be ashamed of. It's like a dirty word.
Yeah.
And the left are saying we need to reclaim our flag from the far right, the mythical far right. But I'm going to spin that. I think we need to reclaim it. We need to reclaim our patriotism from the far left, telling us that it's a dirty thing and it's something to be ashamed of.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, this thing about when people say, "Oh, the far right have taken the flag and made it their own," they say, oh, you know, it's being used by the far right. Well, the only way to stop the far right using it, and by the way, you know, I'm not here to sort of support the far right, but I cannot find it in my heart to criticise them for flying the flag. They're flying our national flag. I mean, anyone who wants to fly the Union Jack, as far as I'm concerned, has my support. But how are we going to reclaim the flag from the far right if we don't just do it? If we don't just say, well, because the sort of
I think you're sort of going along with the narrative that it's the far right. You know, Keir Starmer's lays everyone far right, you know, and you know, obviously there are, you know, things like the riots were very bad, but you know, he's labelling people, you know, you can say what you like about the organisers. I don't want to go into the organisers, but there was about 1 million people at that rally, and for a prime minister to label 1 million ordinary Britons as far right.
Oh, that's rubbish, John. I mean, I was in the middle of that demonstration for a while, not to participate, but I was on my way to the football. I was on the way to see Fulham, but so I had to go all the way through the middle of it. So I experienced it, you know, very politically committed, of course. So I experieed it. And it was a happy family occasion. You know, Tommy Robinson took part. Tommy Robinson did a lot of organising, but to say that was a far right demonstration protest was absolute nonsense. And I don't care who the hell it was that was holding that host of Union Jacks and St George's flags. I don't care who was holding it. I don't care if it was far right people holding it. It was inspiring to see this sea of flags as far, you know, all the way to the horizon. So what I'm saying is, when people go, oh, well, it's been, you know, it's been hijacked by the far right. Well, take it back. You know, if you're going to go, we can't fly that flag because it's become a symbol of the far right. I think that's rubbish for a start, but so what? Start flying it. Then it becomes a symbol for decent British citizens, doesn't it?
It does, and it's really important because what it actually symbolises, you know, we fought the fascists, we ended slavery, you know, we've got a relic of our empire, obviously that's nuanced, but, you know, that's made it that you can be, you know, not just English, Welsh and Scottish British, you can be, you know, you can be an Indian British, you know, it's an umbrella, you know, and that's a very inclusive thing, and it's, you know, it's why obviously we can have our discussions about levels of immigration within that, but it should act as like an umbrella across all of us and be very unifying and you know, represent peace and liberty. So yeah, we just have to keep flying it, and actually we just say to the left, I'm sorry, I'm not having it. I'm not having you say I'm far right, and I'm just going to keep waving. Yeah. And I get the feeling that's coming across the country.
Yeah, I mean, reclaiming the flag, it's almost a misnomer in itself. It's as if to say, we've lost the flag. Can we get it back? Let's try to get it back. Well, I don't think we have lost the flag. If we all started flying it, you know, particularly should I, dare I say, Sandhurst Town Council at your HQ. If you know, so they say, oh, well, if we fly this, it will look like we're far right. Well, that's rubbish. Just fly it. The more everybody flies it, the less people will say, well, it's only the far right that fly these flags. We shouldn't be put off by the fact that people who are very far right, well, I hate the expression far right, by the way, but...
Well, it's meaning, but the thing is, because there are far right people, but now it's lost all its meaning. So
it has, but we shouldn't be put off. If there are, you know, in theory, you know, unpleasant people who like to fly the flag, that shouldn't put the rest of us off flying it, should it?
No, absolutely. I mean, this one is totally ridiculous because this was an official council building as well, a government building. So this shouldn't even been a debate. It should have been, oh, thanks, John, for pointing out that there is not a flag there. But I think the reason why they don't want it, I think it goes deeper in the sense that actually the divide now in politics is between, are you a do you believe in the nation state and traditional values, or do you believe in progressivism and globalism? And if you believe in progressivism and globalism, you don't like the idea of the nation state. In fact, you want to get rid of it. So in fact, you don't want people gathering around the Union flag, because that means people have got a national identity and you want to move them away from that to this sort of faceless global order. I mean, that might be getting a bit deep, but I think that's probably what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, it's people like Keir Starmer who's definitely a globalist. They're not; these people are not, you know, they're not lovers of the nationalist ideal.
Well, you say that. You're saying they're not lovers of national idea, but going back to your Ryder Cup thing made me think. Because you remember in Brexit, they were just waving the EU flag all over the place.
Yes.
Apparently that wasn't nationalistic, but waving the Union flag was.
Exactly right, exactly right. As I say, I don't know if you're a golf fan, but I was watching this afternoon, and it was just astonishing. It was just this explosion of patriotism that the Americans do so naturally. I mean, they just are, you know, Americans from whatever walk of life, right, left, centre, whatever, they are united in their love of their country. They love their flag and they love their country. All of them, even, you know, rebels and revolutionaries, they love their flag and their country. Over here, I just don't know how it is. We have got to the point where millions of, well, not millions, but people in this country have become ashamed of our flag. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. And tell me, by the way, John, before we go to break, what's the makeup of your council? Is it a Tory council? What kind of council is it?
It's a majority Tory council with a significant Lib Dem presence.
Okay, so a majority Tory council voted not to have the Union flag outside your council offices.
Yeah.
Did you? I mean, I assume, as the proposer, you took part in the debate. Did you point out that this was not a particularly conservative line to take on the national flag?
Well, I just put across the point, you know, which I have done, but which we should have it, that people are proud of it. This is a great, you know, the things I set out before, that this would get rid of all the traffic concerns, you know, or if anyone did find it hateful, you know, whatever. This is an official flag now, so we can all gather around it. And in fact, what's even more shocking is the Lib Dems and Green and Labour leaders, local ones, sent out a message the day before saying, we want social cohesion. We appreciate that some people want flags and some people don't. So we want to respect people's right to wave them and other people who don't. Well, this would have been a perfect opportunity to show their commitment to that policy. But they didn't. The first opportunity, they just voted down another Union flag. So it just goes to show they were empty words.
I just find it shocking that, you know, if you said, oh, it's a Labour council or a Lib Dem council or even worse, a Green council or something, then I wouldn't be at all, so I'd be depressed by the decision, but I wouldn't be surprised by it. But a conservatives now get worried. You know, they're trying to please everyone, and as soon as the labels of racism and hate and division go up, they just get scared and they bottle it and they think we can't do that. And I think that's what people have had enough with, these sort of MPs who say they have principles, but when it comes to it, they actually don't. Well, this is the David Cameron, Theresa May syndrome, isn't it? You know, they're so terrified of Labour getting any votes that they pretend to be Labour, turn themselves into Labour light. Tories should always have been proud of what Conservatives are. The reason I think the Tories are in trouble, I'm with Pete Barnes here, as I said earlier, he is Britain's last remaining Conservative supporter.
I'm doing a tour of museums at the end of the year.
I'm taking him around the country as an exhibit. You know, thousands will come to see you as a sort of a curioso.
Be like that dinosaur at the Natural History Museum.
But I think the reason they're in trouble is they became inconfident about what conservatism is, what Tories are supposed to be. You remember that, I think it was the 2014 speech by Theresa May, we must stop being the nasty party. Well, here's the deal, okay, nasty party isn't a good term, but what she meant by nasty party is, but what I'm trying to say inarticulately is actually Conservatives, proper Conservatives, kind of want the Tories to be the nasty party, if you know what I mean. And the fact they try not to be, they've tried to be not what they are. That's why they're in trouble. Back in the day, proper Tories, Thatcherites,
you know, the idea that they would have voted against having the Union flag flying outside a council office would have been unthinkable. Tell you what, John, let's go to break, and when we come back, let's have a chat about ID cards. So that next. Stay tuned, everyone.
Your name has been touted on a number of occasions as someone who might stand down to make way for Andy Burnham. Are you going to do that?
No, I'm not. The general election, I asked people in the constituency to support me. They did. And I intend to do a full term till the next general election, whenever that is. I think to do anything else for manoeuvrings within the Labour Party would be dishonest.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Now, before we go back to John Edwards, councillor in Sandhurst, excellent councillor, independent. He loves the flag. Unfortunately, his fellow councillors don't. But before we go back to John, I should say, in about 35 minutes or so, it is my fantastic TV show, What Just Happened. It's on television, so if you're watching on YouTube, on TV, stay tuned, as it were. If you're not, if you're listening on the radio, it's very radio friendly, so you don't have to actually watch it. It's called What Just Happened. Starts at 9 o'clock, goes on until 10, and then tomorrow morning, it goes on to YouTube around about 9:30, and you can watch it anytime you like. Anyway, What Just Happened? Here is a snippet of what you can enjoy.
Meghan Markle is quaking in her boots at the terrifying prospect of a tell-all book by the former best friend she dramatically cut adrift. The difficult Duchess suddenly severed all ties with Canadian Jessica Mulroney after the celebrity stylist was accused of white privilege in a race row over her failure to support the Black Lives Matter movement. But now, 5 years on, Jessica is reported to have been offered a $1 million deal to write the story of her life and times with Prince Harry's social climbing American wife.
Yeah, that's my monologue at the beginning of the show. So one of the things we will discuss is Jessica Mulroney used to be Meghan's bosom buddy. They were inseparable, and then they fell out because Jessica Mulroney was accused of being a racist. I'm not saying she is at all, of course, but she was accused. And so Meghan dropped her like a stone, and now Jessica Mulroney's been offered $1 million to write a tell-all book. She says she's not going to spill the beans, but, you know, money talks. So we hope that book comes out, don't we? There's that. There's lots more. Ash Gold and Reem Ibrahim are my guests. So that's in 35 minutes or so. I hope you enjoy it. Let's go back now to Councillor John Edwards. Hello, John.
Hello.
Sorry to keep you there, but let me know what you think about Keir Starmer's proposal, his Papers, Please dystopian proposal that we all must have compulsory digital ID cards. He's trying to sort of dress it up today, saying, oh, it's just for workers. It's not. Lisa Nandy made that clear on Question Time last night. If you don't have one of these cards, you won't be able to use the NHS, you won't be able to see a doctor, you won't be able to see social services, none of the public services. So everybody's going to need these. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree. It's very dystopian, very worrying. And, you know, you just have to look, if you actually read what they've published on the Gov website, you know, the first thing they're saying is it'll be mandatory for work, as if that's like a positive thing, whereas that just sends, you know, alarm bells through me. But then they say it will make it easier for you to access vital government services. Well, therefore, we know it's not about just employment then. We know it's about vital government services. And then it says the services you are entitled to. Okay, maybe that's not alarming, but this card then is going to, you know, allow you access to services you are entitled to. Maybe the government can withdraw that entitlement from it.
Yeah, good point.
What we know it's not going to do is we know it's not going to stop illegal work, because employers who aren't already checking these documents are going to keep doing it. Why would they suddenly start doing it just because there's a card? And obviously, if that isn't going to reduce, we know that their legal entry isn't going to reduce either. So it isn't going to work. But if you go actually into like, what's this? Well, we know that governments are terrible at, you know, building anything. Like, I've got an iPhone like everyone else, and it's a beautiful device. If you said to a government, make an iPhone, it would be absolutely abysmal. You only have to look at the government gateway projects, and it's really convoluted and hard to understand. So yeah, I think this is going to be really difficult, poor, and then there's the creep, as you said.
What it is, John, in my view, this is a socialist government. Socialists like this kind of thing. You know, it's in my view, it's the egregious state overreach. It subordinates the individual to the needs of the state. The state wants to keep tabs on all of us. That's what left-wing governments want to do. You know, this puts us in a club with Russia, China, Afghanistan, North Korea. They all have digital ID systems. I think that speaks for itself, that argument, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it does, and this will definitely creep. So it won't just be, you know, welfare, your driving license, and then jobs. It will then go down because companies will get used to checking it. So they'll be saying, "Oh, have you got your government ID?" So then it will be mobile phones, it will be your insurance policy, it will probably be social media accounts, and then you can see this is really convenient for a government because, you know, a government who wants to change behaviours, or if there's an emergency, you know, they can start, you know, constraining what services or, you know, are available to you. So I think that creep is something to be really worried about, actually. I don't think this is about centralising papers, you know, your driving licence and your NHS app. I think it's about concentrating power.
Yeah, it is, and it won't make any difference to the migrant crisis. You know, underhand employment system will carry on. You know, dodgy employers will continue dodgily employing illegal employees. There's no doubt about that, like just as they do now. Officially, you can't get a job without a national insurance number. Doesn't stop loads of illegal workers working in nail bars, kebab shops, Deliveroo, etc., etc. So they're dressing this up to help solve the migrant crisis. No, no, no. This is about control. This is state overreach, and I'm sensing, though, John. Last point, really. I don't know how what you're picking up, but the reaction of the British people has been explosive. I mean, they are furious at this. I think this could be Starmer's poll tax. I don't think the people will accept this, and I think he could be in trouble here.
Yeah, absolutely, totally agree. I mean, he's basically it's a distraction as well, isn't it? Away from actually his failure to control illegal migration.
Yeah.
This isn't going to do it. And yeah, I think everyone can see through it. And I don't think it's going to get through either. I mean, the cost, it's going to take 4 years. They're going to have to design it.
That's true, yeah. I love the way you say it. It's free. It's not going to be free. It's going to cost taxpayers a fortune. You just know that if they get this thing going, and I've got my doubts, it's going to cost billions and billions of pounds. Then it won't work. So it's free. No, it's not. It's anything but free. John, well, look, great to have you on the show, and come on again soon. Thank you so much for your excellent company. Councillor John Edwards there, independent councillor down
Very good.
He's a good guy.
Very good guy.
He's been on before.
Knows what he's talking about as well, because the one thing he's right to pick up on, and this is where the Tories went really wrong, is they became terrified of the far right. They got terrified of labels like racist, and so they ran to the left. They ran to the centre, and this is the point. This is why they voted against it. This is why they're doing unconservative things, because they're terrified of being branded far right. Because what's happened is our national identity is being gatekept by the left. They own the flag. They're the ones politicising it. They're the ones continuing this kind of narrative that that it's a far right symbol. Not the far right. The left are doing this, and you're right. We have to keep flying it. We have to keep pushing it forward. I do think I'm a little tired of arguing about bunting, but there is a bigger context to it. But what is it? Nero burned while Rome. Nero fiddled while Rome burned. We argued about bunting, but there is a big context here, and it is about national identity. And I think we're going to see a resurgence of it because of things like digital ID. We're unifying again, and the left will not like that.
Yeah, but it's just extraordinary that we have come to the point where you have a council in a very patriotic area like Sandhurst voting against flying the national flag because they say it's divisive, political, far right.
But think about it. They've primed the environment. Our culture is so against flying. We go back to the argument about academies and being it in the schools. It's in our education. We talk about it all the time, that Britain is the bad guy. Britain is the bad guy. Our history is taught from a negative perspective the entire time. So then when you suddenly start to see any semblance of the flag, like I remember when we had the flags down the Mall, everyone was like, oh, it's Nazi Germany, despite the fact you can't move for the EU flag when you go into continental Europe.
It's not flag. You're right. It's not flags we don't like. We seem to love the Palestinian flag. We love the EU flag. It's just our own national flag we don't like.
Because we're the bad guys.
And that, to me, there seems like there's something wrong with that. Don't you agree, folks? 0344 499 1000. Tell you what we'll do now. We'll go to break. When we come back, we're going to speak to Gareth in Derbyshire, Tom in Kent, and all manner of people. So stick around.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Go to the phones for just a second. A couple of texts I've had here. This is from Colette. Brits aren't natural flag wavers, but betrayal by politicians has left us clinging to our identity. We fly the flag not out of anger, but to show that we won't be silenced. Excellent text, Colette. She adds, I'm on my way to Sandhurst tonight. A couple of people, Sue Van Sanden and Antionetta, have pointed out, it's an interesting point, this. So we, asylum seekers, we let these people who break into the country, we call them asylum seekers, so then they can stay. We put them in hotels and all that. And as we well know, they get excellent access to the NHS, doctors, dentists, all that. Our social services. Now, they're not allowed to work. How will they get, if we need to present our digital IDs, our brick cards, you know, to get hospital treatment or doctor's treatment. What about these people who are not allowed to work, these asylum seekers? How do they get, you know, I mean, do you see what I'm saying? If they don't have, we can't be giving them to people who aren't citizens.
Well, we need to give everything else to people who aren't citizens, but there will be that's because this is a point. Is that this hasn't been thought through to that level of degree, but what's been announced anyway. But there'll be some kind of special thing that they'll get. They'll give them more access to things because
they'll get asylum seeker.
Because there's already these kind
non-Brit cards.
Non-Brit cards. Yeah.
It's
interesting. Though.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a very, very good point. I hadn't thought of that.
Exactly right. In other words, you know, there's all sorts of anomalies in this. That's what we've just discussed. Of course, the people who don't have smartphones, loads of this stuff hasn't been thought through. Let's talk to Gareth in Derby. Hello, Gareth.
Good evening. I'm in Derbyshire. I'm actually in Belper at the moment.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But nevertheless, I think Keir Starmer has got to be the biggest political plonker on the planet. This man is completely, you know, he's misread the actual DNA of the British people.
Absolutely right, Gareth. I think he's self-harming here. He doesn't realise the damage he's doing to himself. He didn't have to do this. People hate this. He doesn't understand us, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I signed the petition this evening. I noticed it had gone to over 1.3 million.
I think it's 1.6 now. It is flying. Yeah. It's flying.
So, you know, in my lifetime, I'm sad to say I'm a 1963 vintage, but I think...
It's a very good year.
You know, when I was growing up, we were free. You could do what you like. They remembered what happened, you know, previously. You could do what you like, you could park where you like, you could go where you like, you don't have to be recorded. You know, now I can't drive through my city centres, there's this and that I can't do. And the plonker is trying to, you know, the reality is, if they did bring this in, the vast majority of us would never accept it. But even if you did, it's just putting a tax on law-abiding citizens. Because the people who won't have one are the people who are working illegally. And it
I am not sure we could be called the Prime Minister or not, so I must apologise for that. But seriously, as you quite rightly say, he's so devoted to rules and regulations. This is the procedure, the rule, the regulation, that he can't conceive of the fact that every rule, every regulation, as they say, was made to be broken. Just because he's going to make us all have these ridiculous brick cards, these ID cards, it doesn't mean to say that the black economy won't continue. We seem to have lost Gareth there. What happened?
Yeah.
What happened? Okay.
Oh, well.
Okay.
I will say, though, that I don't think this is done by stupidity. I think this was design. I don't think this is kind of misreading. I think he wanted this, and this was the plan all along. I think if you look at it, kind of our society, we have been primed for this. We look at the Snoopers Charter. We look at COVID. We say the Brits won't accept this. People lapped up COVID. We loved it. You know, you got to snitch on your neighbours. You got to tell people what to do. There was a big portion of this country that loved this kind of stuff, and it was more significant than I would like to admit that it was.
Yeah.
There is a real problem there.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, everybody was stunned by how compliant we were in the COVID crisis. But I think millions of people also learned a lesson then, saying we won't do that again. Gareth's back on the line. We were just saying, Gareth, that in COVID, you know, there seems to be an almost revolutionary mood about these ID cards. You know, very revolution is in the air. Rebellion is almost palpable. But in the COVID alleged crisis, we all became, or the nation became, very compliant instantly, didn't it?
Well, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, actually, because I've got a massive regret about COVID because, you know, I was compliant in the fact that I actually allowed them to vaccine me. But I do travel a lot, and I made sure I could travel lots of places during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they actually made us stay indoors, they made the children not go to school, because I've got two daughters who had to sit in the bedrooms working on Zoom and stuff like that for all that period.
God almighty, Gareth, how badly did we let down a generation of kids? It's a disgrace.
What I want to say as a nation, I think we were weak to allow that to happen, and I'd never succumb to that again.
I think millions of people are like that. I've got a feeling. I have a feeling. I'm with Pete Barnes at the moment. I have a feeling that the reason so many people went along with it at the outset was because of the novelty value. They were kind of excited by it. You know, it was like being in a movie.
The more the insidious bit for me was this kind of snitch culture, spy on your neighbour. You know, what's your neighbour up to? Report on them. That became very dominant particularly towards the end of the of COVID, and it was very interesting how quickly we lapped that up. My grandfather always said the Third Reich will return with a British civil servant in a high-vis jacket. You know, and I think we're starting to see that
was on the money.
Yeah, I think he was right.
Gareth, just before we go, do you think that this could be Keir Starmer's poll tax?
I think it should be the end of him. I think if Labour politicians and Labour members and Labour MPs have got the right idea, and a lot of them have, I think, they'll never accept this because there's a large part of the Labour Party that are really good, UK people who
decent people,
freedom.
And you're right, Gareth.
Decent people, and because I know a lot of them.
Yeah,
I live in Derbyshire. You know, we're half and half. We half support Derby County, half Nottingham Forest, half Labour, half Conservative, whatever. Yeah. But the point is, they're all good people. They'll never want to give away our freedom like we did in COVID. And what he's doing, it's a non-starter.
It's an assault on our freedom, and you're quite right. There has already been a revolt by many Labour MPs who take the same view as us, that they see this as an assault on our civil liberties, and they are joining the mass opposition to this extraordinary plan to turn us into North Korea. Gareth, really good to talk to you. Excellent call. Thanks a lot. Keep in touch, mate. We better go to break. Tom in West Ham. That's in Kent, apparently. Says Tom, or is he a West Ham fan who lives in Kent? Tom, West Ham fan in Kent. Stay where you are. We'll come to you after this break.
these digital IDs are illiberal, authoritarian, un-British, Orwellian and wrong. Which is why I have commissioned a pair of Talk's finest scissors to cut up this disgusting, wretched, evil, creepy, totalitarian document, because my message is very clear when it comes to digital ID. No, no, no.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
60,000 people have signed the protest petition against Keir Starmer's Peppers Please Brit Card ID, digital ID scheme. Papers, please. By the way, that's the other element. You know, make no mistake, we're talking about bank accounts, or used in hospitals, social services, public services. The police will want to see your digital ID card.
Well, that's like I said earlier. That's when the government got rid of them because the police overstepped. But they were the ones that were doing it.
It'll become, you know, it'll become the national ID card. You'll need to have it, and if you don't have it, the police will probably feel your collar. You know, there seems to be a discrepancy here. Come with me, please. That's what's going to happen. Seriously, I'm not joking. This is from Emma in Portsmouth. It's, Emma asks, could you please tell me how I sign this petition? Emma, and anybody else who wants to sign it, it's on, just go to Google and put ID petition. It will be the first thing that comes up. 60,000 people in the last hour. This is the biggest petition I've ever seen. Yeah. It's huge. It's huge. Starmer's done it again. Self-harm. This could destroy him. This could destroy him.
Quite funny, isn't it? The guy who said he was going to unite the country, he has against himself, which is quite impressive, really, if you think about it.
We've just gone over the 1.4 million
I'm just
mark.
looking at it now,
1.4 million. I think I said 1.6 earlier, but it'll be 1.6 probably in about 2 hours. I'm serious. Let's go to Tom. West Ham, Tom in Kent. Hello, Tom. How you doing, man?
Good evening, John.
By the way, I'm sorry that you support West Ham. You need to get a new manager.
Yeah, for my sins. We'll see what happens.
It's my second favourite team after Fulham, but for West Ham, definitely need a new manager. Anyway, I digress. What would you like to say?
It's just concerning the ID cards. I mean, it is a natural diminishment of freedom.
Of course it is. Absolutely.
But what I wanted to say is that the chief of staff that the Labour Party wheeled out to talk to those of us who have got the mental capacity of a 3-year-old.
Yeah, you mean Darren Jones? Darren explains. It's pathetic, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, what was interesting is he mentioned 3 countries that have digital ID.
Yeah. Estonia, of course, we all look up to Estonia, don't we? Yeah.
One of the countries he mentioned was Australia.
Yeah.
We don't have digital ID.
You're Australian, are you, Tom? Or
yes, I am.
Yeah. So you don't. That's interesting. That's interesting. He's not telling the truth there.
He's not. I'm an Australian citizen. I've got properties over here as well as there.
Yeah.
And we have no compulsory digital ID system in Australia, nor have we ever.
There you go, Darren Jones getting it wrong again.
He's just jumped the announcement from the Australian government.
Don't forget, Tom, Darren Jones is the guy when he was on Question Time told millions of viewers, I assured the nation, that the majority of migrants, illegal migrants, coming across the channel in small boats were babies, children and women. He actually said that.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. First of all, with regards to Darren Jones, he may have got Austria and the country Australia.
Yeah. Can't even get that right. Well, it's so difficult, Tom. You must get confused yourself because it's got the first three letters are the same. I mean, you must you must kind of forget. You must often say, "I'm from Austria," not realising that you should say Australia, right?
I think so. And the other thing with regards to the illegal migrants, the really sad thing about this is that when you do hear the death of migrants on the English Channel, why is it that they tend to be women and children and not the men?
Well, yeah, it's a very good question. I mean, you know what that's all about.
I know exactly what it's all about, but nobody else speaks about it.
No, they don't. Listen, Tom, commiserations for supporting West Ham, but when you get a new manager, you'll be okay, I am sure. Love West Ham. Good to talk to you, and thank you for pointing out Darren Jones's egregious error. Anyway, we just thought, Darren explains. We thought we might watch that again.
Oh, haven't we suffered enough?
Take it away, Darren Jones.
What is a digital ID? My name is Darren Jones. I'm the Chief Secretary to the Prime Minister. Let me explain. A digital ID is an ID on your phone that just proves you are who you are. And when you apply for any new job in the UK already, you have to prove that you have the right to work here. With a digital right to work check, you can do it with your phone, as opposed to having to rummage around for a passport or a utility bill which your employer has to photocopy. It's free, it's not going to cost you anything, it makes life easier for you. Lots of other countries use government digital ID. Australia or Denmark or Estonia, other places in Europe, as it means that we can hone in on those dodgy employers employing people illegally much more effectively, so that for the rest of us that get up every morning and go to work legally, we know that we're all doing the right thing and the system works well.
Thank you, Darren. Now, here is a special edition of Kevin Explains. Kevin explains that Australia don't have digital ID. So thanks very much for that misinformation. Classic socialist misinformation. Right, let's, last quick call. Let's talk to Paul in Nottingham. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Kevin. How you doing?
All right. What would you like to say, mate?
Oh, God.
Just that end call.
I'm going to start by saying I can't call West Ham because as a Forest fan, they trashed us, didn't they, the other week?
Yeah. Well, you've got your problems as well. But let's talk. Let's not talk football.
Right. Okay. Where do we go then? Right. Now we all know, don't we, that where they're going with this? Yeah. It's obvious, isn't it? Yeah.
It's to keep tabs on us. It's to keep tabs on us. And somebody's pointed out.
The powers that be, right, have infiltrated both parties. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. The real powers that be. Now, under Sunak, why would you have called a snap election when you know you're that far behind in the polls, right? It's because they needed to put a complete and utter imbecile in that would do their bidding.
I don't think this is. Yeah, this is. They're not all working together, Paul. You might like to think that, but that's not true. This is not a grand plan. When Rishi Sunak went to the people when he called that election, it's what's called a mistake.
Well, I'm not so sure.
Yes, it was a mistake. It was a mistake.
Sunak.
You're going to start talking about the World Economic Forum in a minute, aren't you?
But listen,
was it the World Economic Forum?
Clash Farm.
Kevin, listen, the trouble is, they've got you, right, where you just don't know what to believe anymore, right? All these jabs that you're offering now, have a jab for... I don't think I'll ever have a jab again in my life, no matter what it's for. Right.
I do think it's weird. You know, they're still offering this COVID jab to everybody. I know. And you know, ask a doctor. They're old people. They're trying to get them to, you know, ever since the COVID panic, I think old people have been advised or urged to have about like 23 COVID jabs or something. It's ridiculous.
Let me tell you this, right? In my profession, right, I go around tons of properties, and I've got high end people right down to the lower work class, and two of the ones that really stick out. One was a neurosurgeon, and when I knocked on his door, I'm a gas engineer. When I knocked on his door, this was during the first part of COVID. I looked like I was something out of a western. I'd got me bottle of spray hanging off my side, my gloves, my mask. Honestly, he looked me up and down and said, take them off for a waste of time. And another brilliant one was a veterinary surgeon, and he was a poultry vet,
Okay, Paul, where are we going with this? I've got to end the show in a minute.